the first video of the 2014 regular season I'll be doing, and it's great to have football back. Obviously, this is always a fun time of the year. It's great to have football back, and again, I think it's going to be a phenomenal year in the NFL. There's so much balance this year. There's so much unpredictability this year, and I'm expecting a great year of football. So it's great to be back doing videos. I look forward to communicating with you guys all season long and hearing your opinions, regardless of what team you root for. If you're a Broncos fan, if you're a Seahawks fan, if you're a Packers fan, Colts fan, whatever. I look forward to interacting with fellow football fans all year, and can't wait to be sitting on my ass on Sundays again watching NFL Red Zone. It's just great to have football back, and more importantly, it's great to have Broncos football back. I'm glad the preseason is finally over. We can start playing games that matter. There was kind of that theme of redemption, if you will, or revenge, if you will, and it's kind of the same thing, unfortunately, as a Broncos fan going into this season, and as a Broncos player, that's kind of the theme of this season, is the road back to redemption. I mean, last season we redeemed the loss to the Ravens by destroying them in the season opener, and then we got to the Super Bowl, we won in the playoffs, but then we get to the Super Bowl and we get destroyed 43-8 by a phenomenal team in the Seattle Seahawks. So now it's kind of a make or break year for the Broncos in every sense of the word, and it's definitely the road to redemption, if you will, once again, unfortunately, and kind of trying to eliminate the memory of that loss in Super Bowl 48. And it starts this Sunday night, obviously, against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I love that we're starting our season off against the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, anytime Peyton Manning's going to play the Colts, it's a big game. There's going to be outside factors. There's going to be a lot of national attention on it. Obviously, last season when we played the Colts in Week 7 in Indianapolis, there was a lot of emotion going into that game. It was Peyton Manning's first game against the Colts since being cut by the Colts in Indianapolis. There was just a lot of emotion, a lot of energy going into that game and surrounding that game. I don't think there's going to be that same level of buzz or emotion going into this game, mainly because it's in Denver, and because obviously Peyton Manning, now that he's already played his former team once, that's kind of out of the way. But the one kind of interesting thing going into this game for both these teams is that both the Broncos and the Colts have dealt with a lot of off-the-field problems. You look at the Colts, their owner, Jim Irsay, obviously has had some DUI charges that he's had to deal with throughout this offseason. He's been suspended by the league. I think it was for 6 games, got fined $500,000. And then also, for the Colts, they got the defensive end, Robert Mathis, arguably their best defensive player. He's out for the first 4 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy, and their drug policy. And then on the flip side, you got the Broncos, obviously, with Wes Welker, who 2 days ago was suspended for 4 games by the NFL as well for violating the drug substance abuse policy for taking Adderall or something like that. Some people have said he took Molly before the Kentucky Derby. I'm not here to speculate, nor do I really care what he took. Bottom line is he's suspended for 4 games as well. So both these teams are kind of dealing with off-the-field distractions. I don't think it's going to really affect either team going into the game, but it is kind of interesting that going into the season opener, the Sunday Night Football opener on national TV, NBC, that both these teams are kind of dealing with their fair share of distractions. For the Broncos to win, they got to find a way to contain Andrew Luck. Now you've seen in his first 2 seasons in Indianapolis, he's really kind of coming into his own, and you're seeing him become one of the top 5 to 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and he has become one of the top 5 to 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. And I've said before, I think 5 years from now, maybe even sooner, Andrew Luck's probably going to be the best quarterback in this league, and we got to find a way to limit his big play opportunities. He did a great job against us in that game last season of distributing the ball around and not really focusing on one receiver. He had a couple nice throws to Reggie Wayne, got T.Y. Hilton involved, got the tight ends involved, got Donald Brown involved. They don't have Donald Brown anymore, but he did a great job of distributing the rock, and we didn't do a good job of getting any pressure on him. Andrew Luck, I think we only sacked him once or twice last season in that game. We got to get more consistent pressure on him, and hopefully that won't be an issue, because we got Von Miller back, we got DeMarcus Ware back. Of course, you got Terrence Knight coming up the middle. You got Sylvester Williams. You got Derek Wolfe. You got Malik Jackson. You got plenty of guys that are going to be able to rush the passer. Marvin Austin, and hopefully our defensive line with kind of the physical presence that they play with in the preseason, that will carry over to this game against the Colts offensive line, which I think should be overmatched just from a physical standpoint against our defensive line. And we got to get to Andrew Luck more than 1 or 2 times in this game if we want to win. You got to pressure him, and we got to do a good job of when he breaks the pocket, once it collapses and gets to the edge, of containing that edge and not letting him have a clear window to throw when he's on the run. Because Andrew Luck, like Russell Wilson, is a very, very good quarterback at throwing on the run. He's very mobile. Obviously, can make some plays with his legs. I think he had like 30, 40 rushing yards against us in that game last season. Had a rushing touchdown. We gotta obviously limit his opportunities to make plays with his legs. And again, when that pocket collapses, we gotta have DeMarcus Ware or Derek Wolfe or Von Miller, Marvin Austin, Terrence Knight, whoever it is that's seeing him break the pocket and get into that edge of just being in his face and forcing him not to have a clean window to throw, because Andrew Luck is, again, phenomenal at making throws on the run. So that's obviously going to be a big key for the Broncos, stopping the run. Trent Richardson obviously is a physical running back and is a guy that is good at getting yards after contact. He really didn't do much last season in general, and he didn't really do much against us in that last game last season, but our defensive line has to win that battle at the point of attack, physically manhandle the Colts offensive line and pin him in the backfield. Never really let the Colts run game going, because if the Colts can get their run game going, then they're going to set up their play action pass, and they got plenty of weapons and obviously a phenomenal quarterback in Andrew Luck to make some big plays off that play action passing game. Obviously our secondary is going to be on point. We can't give up any big plays in the passing game, and there's no question that the Colts offensively, at least from a skills position standpoint, they've improved greatly. They added Akeem Nicks. They're getting Reggie Wayne back. They obviously have T.Y. Hilton, who's coming off a great year last season. They got skilled people, and it's not to forget Kobe Fleener, who's a phenomenal tight end as well, and obviously has that chemistry and rapport with Andrew Luck, playing with him at Stanford now, having a season under his belt in Indianapolis with him. I mean, they got talent, and they got a quarterback that can distribute the ball. So our secondary, Aqib Talib, whether it's Bradley Roby, Kayvon Webster, Omar Bolden, Raheem Moore, T.J. Ward, Brandon Marshall, who is going to be starting for Danny Trevathan at the linebacker spot. They got to be on their toes, and they got to be ready. Our coverage has to be on point in this game, because they can beat us deep, especially T.Y. Hilton in the slot. I mean, that guy is a game breaker, and he can take the top off of defense, so we got to watch him. Reggie Wayne is obviously a phenomenal receiver. He's a big physical receiver, so it'll be interesting to see if we put Aqib Talib on him or Akeem Nicks. Both those guys are two physically gifted wideouts, big guys, big targets for Andrew Luck to utilize. And then obviously Kobe Fleener, the tight end. We got a Brandon Marshall, T.J. Ward, Raheem Moore, safeties, and Marshall. They got to be on point with him and play physical with him, try to take him out of the game early on, because he does, again, have kind of that rapport, that chemistry with Andrew Luck. He's kind of a safety blanket, if you will, at times for Andrew Luck, and we got to keep their passing game on lock, not allow them to get in a rhythm in a passing game, and not allow them to take the top off our defense with a guy like T.Y. Hilton and get big plays through the air, because they will have a good game, and it'll be a long night for our defense. Their talent alone defensively compared to our personnel and talent offensively, it's a huge mismatch, and especially the fact that they're not going to have Robert Mathis is a huge disadvantage and blow for them. Now, a lot of people have made it out to be that us losing Wes Welker is going to somehow change the dynamic and effectiveness of our offense, and I think that's just foolish. You obviously haven't watched many Broncos games, and you obviously don't know much about Peyton Manning and the rest of our personnel if you think Wes Welker is the end-all be-all or make or break type player for us on the offensive side of the ball. We got Demaryius Thomas, we got Julius Thomas, and Peyton Manning is phenomenal at distributing that ball and going throughout his reads and constantly keeping the defense guessing. And Wes Welker, yes, he's a great option on third down. He can be a safety blanket at times for Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning obviously has a rapport with him. He targets him a lot. But Wes Welker is not some irreplaceable player. I mean, Wes Welker is not like Ryan Clady or Demaryius Thomas or even Peyton Manning in that sense. If we lose one of those guys, our offense significantly is going to be worse. Wes Welker's not that type of player. We have Cody Latimer, the second-round pick out of Indiana, who can play in the slot. You got
Andre Caldwell, who has a rapport with Peyton Manning, who you can put in the slot. And hell, you can mix and match your lineup so many ways with Welker being out that you could keep the Colts defense, their head spinning all night. You could even put Julius Thomas, line him up in the slot, maybe bring Jacob Tamme in at tight end, have Emmanuel Sanders and DT on the outside, maybe bring Emmanuel Sanders in that slot, or line JT, Julius Thomas, or Cody Latimer outside on the numbers, have Jacob Tamme in at tight end. We have plenty of lineups and interchangeable pieces at the wide receiver and tight end position. Such great depth. Even Isaiah Burris, who's primarily a returner for us, a guy that we can bring at the slot. We have plenty of guys that can replace Wes Welker in his role. Again, he is not some dynamic weapon that you can't replace offensively. He's not Demaryius Thomas. He's not Julius Thomas. He's not Ryan Clady in that sense, where he's of such great importance to this offense. He's obviously a great player, but it's not going to make or break us throughout the season, throughout these first four or five games, and it's not going to make or break us here against the Indianapolis Colts. For our offense, it just comes down to giving Peyton Manning time. He got sacked 4 or 5 times in that game last season against the Colts. Robert Mathis, I think, sacked him 2 or 3 times in that game. Obviously, Robert Mathis isn't going to be in the game, so that's an even bigger blow to the Colts defense. And it just comes down to giving Peyton time and giving him a clean pocket to throw in, allowing him to go through his reads, decipher the defense, and get the ball to Demaryius Thomas, get the ball to Julius Thomas in the middle of the field. I think Julius Thomas is going to have huge mismatches throughout the game. But I will give the Colts credit. Last season, their secondary did a good job of being physical with our wideouts and kind of taking them out of the game. I think the offense, there's really not much to it in terms of breaking down what they need to do. We have a huge mismatch, I feel, here against the Colts defense, especially without Robert Mathis, and hopefully we'll take advantage of it by giving Peyton Manning more time in this game than we did in that game last season, obviously, against the Colts. So that's my preview for the game. I think it's going to be a tough game. Thank you for watching so much. I appreciate your guys' support. Again, leave me a comment below. Want to hear your opinions on the NFL season. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Give me your division winners. What do you think the Broncos are going to do this season? What do you think the Colts are going to do this season? How do you think this game is going to play out? Always love hearing from you guys. So, once again, thank you for watching. And as always, go Broncos. Can't wait till Sunday night. Should be a battle against the Colts.